The champagne glass shattered. Then Charlotte hit the floor. And in that moment, everything changed. When Charlotte Hayes collapsed at a charity gala, doctors discovered the impossible. She was pregnant with triplets after 15 years of infertility, after being told she'd never conceive. 3 miracles, growing inside a body with a failing heart. The doctors gave her 6 months to live. The babies needed 8 months to survive. But that wasn't the worst part. While Charlotte fought for every breath, while she carried 3 lives inside her dying body, her billionaire husband was planning a future with someone else, a beautiful young woman who smiled at Charlotte's face, while counting down the days until she'd inherit everything. What that mistress didn't know? Charlotte was playing chess while everyone else played checkers. And a dying woman with nothing left to lose is the most dangerous opponent you'll ever face. This is the story of how a mother's love became a weapon, how trust documents became shields, and how DNA results became the ultimate revenge. Because Charlotte Hayes didn't just fight for her babies' lives. She fought for their future, their fortune, their freedom. And she won, even from the grave. Let me tell you how. The champagne glass shattered a full second before Charlotte hit the marble floor. The sound echoed through the ballroom, crystal exploding into 1,000 pieces. Then the heavy thud of her body, then screaming. So much screaming. Charlie had felt it coming. The way the room tilted sideways, the way the chandeliers above her started spinning like carnival lights, the way her heart stuttered once, twice, then seemed to forget how to beat it all. She remembered thinking, this is it. This is how I die, at a charity gala, in a $5,000 gown, surrounded by people who will cry at my funeral but can't remember my middle name. Then nothing but white noise and the taste of copper in her mouth. When she opened her eyes, she was on a gurney, paramedics shouting numbers that meant nothing to her, an oxygen mask pressed tight against her face, the ballroom ceiling tiles rushing past above her. Someone was holding her hand. Charlie, can you hear me? Nate, her husband. His face swam into focus above her. Handsome, concerned, his tie was loosened, his phone was in his other hand. I'm here, she tried to say, but the mask muffled everything. Don't talk, he said. Just breathe. We're getting you to the hospital. The ambulance ride was a blur of sirens and sharp turns. Charlie stared at the ceiling, counted the rivets in the metal, tried not to think about the way her heart was still beating wrong, like it was forgetting the rhythm. At the hospital, they wheeled her straight to the emergency room. Bright lights, cold air, nurses moving fast around her. Someone cut off her gown. She wanted to protest. $5,000, gone. Just like that. Dr. Rebecca Walsh appeared beside her. Charlie had known Rebecca for 15 years. They'd been friends since college. Rebecca had held her hand through every failed fertility treatment, every negative pregnancy test, every conversation about accepting that children weren't meant to be. Charlie, Rebecca said softly, I'm here. You're going to be okay. What happened? Charlie managed to ask. Your heart. It's the valve issue we've been monitoring, but we need to run some tests. They took her blood. They hooked her up to machines that beeped in different pitches. They wheeled in an ultrasound machine. Charlie watched it all happen like she was outside her own body, like this was happening to someone else. Nate stood in the corner, still holding his phone, still checking it every few seconds. Charlie noticed. She always noticed. Rebecca squirted the cold gel on her abdomen. Charlie flinched, the wand pressed against her skin. Rebecca stared at the screen. Her expression changed. Confusion, then shock, then something that looked like fear. Charlie, Rebecca said slowly, when was your last period? I don't know, 2 months ago, maybe 3. My cycle has always been irregular, you know that. Rebecca moved the wand, pressed harder, stared at the screen with that same shocked expression. What? Charlie asked. What is it? Rebecca turned the screen toward her. Charlie, you're pregnant. The room went silent. Even the machine seemed to stop beeping. That's not possible, Charlie said. You told me 5 years ago, after the last treatment failed. You said my eggs weren't viable. You said between the endometriosis and the heart condition, I would never conceive naturally. I know what I said, Rebecca replied quietly. But Charlie, you're pregnant, about 12 weeks. Charlie stared at the screen, at the small blob that didn't look like anything, at the flickering white light in the center. A heartbeat. There's more, Rebecca said. Her voice was strange, tight. More? Rebecca moved the wand again. You're not carrying one baby, Charlie, you're carrying three. The world tilted again, worse than before. Triplets, Charlie whispered. Triplets, Rebecca confirmed. Nate stepped forward. Wait, what? How is that even possible? I don't know, Rebecca said, but it's happening. Charlie couldn't stop staring at the screen. 3 separate sacs, 3 separate heartbeats, 3 impossible miracles. This is amazing, Nate said. He was smiling, actually smiling. Charlie, we're having babies. 3 babies, after all this time. Rebecca wasn't smiling. She turned off the ultrasound, pulled a chair close to Charlie's bed, took her hand. Charlie, I need you to listen to me very carefully. The way she said it made Charlie's blood run cold. Your heart condition, the valve stenosis, it's been manageable because of how carefully we've monitored it. But pregnancy puts enormous strain on the heart. Triplet pregnancy? Rebecca paused. Charlie, your heart won't be able to handle it. What do you mean? I mean carrying 3 babies to term could kill you. The room went silent again. This time it stayed silent. How long? Charlie asked. I don't know. 6 months, maybe less. The babies need at least 7 to 8 months in utero to have a good chance of survival. Your heart might not last that long. Charlie looked at Nate. He had gone pale. The phone in his hand buzzed. He glanced at it, just for a second, but she saw it. So what are you saying? Charlie asked. That I have to choose between my life and theirs? I'm saying we need to talk about options, about what this means, about what you want to do. I want my babies, Charlie said. The words came out hard, certain. I've wanted them for 15 years. I'm not giving up now. Charlie, no, I know what you're going to say, that it's too dangerous, that I need to think about myself, but I've thought about nothing but myself for 15 years. Every treatment, every procedure, every negative test. It's always been about me, about what I wanted, about my body failing me. She pressed her hand to her stomach, to the place where 3 impossible lives were growing. For once, it's not about me anymore. It's about them. Rebecca squeezed her hand. Okay, then we fight. We monitor you constantly. We do everything we can to keep you and the babies healthy for as long as possible. Thank you, Charlie whispered. Nate's phone buzzed again. This time he answered it. I have to take this, he said. He stepped out into the hallway. Rebecca watched him go. Her expression was unreadable. He's under a lot of stress, Charlie said. Work has been intense. I'm sure, Rebecca said, but she didn't sound sure at all. They admitted Charlie overnight for observation, gave her a private room, hooked her up to more machines. The baby's heartbeats filled the room. 3 distinct rhythms, slightly out of sync with each other, creating a sound like rain on a tin roof. Charlie lay in the dark and listened, pressed both hands to her stomach, tried to feel them, tried to believe they were real. This was everything she'd ever wanted, the one thing that had always been just out of reach. And now it was here, inside her, 3 tiny miracles performing their own tiny magic. And it was going to kill her. The door opened. Margaret, Charlie's mother, rushed in, still wearing her pajamas. She'd driven 3 hours from Arizona the moment Charlie called. Baby girl, Margaret said. She wrapped Charlie in a hug that smelled like lavender and home. Tell me everything. Charlie told her about the pregnancy, about the triplets, about the death sentence disguised as a miracle. Margaret cried, then stopped crying, then took Charlie's face in both hands. You listen to me. You're stronger than you think. You're my daughter, and Hayes women don't quit. I'm scared, Mom. Good. Fear means you're paying attention, but don't let it make your decisions for you. Nate came back an hour later. He'd been on the phone the entire time. Sorry, he said, crisis at work. You know how it is. Charlie knew. She'd always known. Work came first. It always had. He kissed her forehead, told her to get some rest, left before visiting hours ended. Margaret watched him go. How long has he been like this? Like what? Distant, distracted, gone even when he's here. He's busy, Mom. Running a company worth billions isn't easy. Neither is being married to you, and yet you make it look effortless. Charlie didn't have an answer for that. She fell asleep to the sound of 3 heartbeats, dreamed of faces she'd never see, of birthday parties she'd never throw, of graduations she'd never attend. When she woke, the sun was streaming through the window. Rebecca was back. She had printouts of the ultrasound, 3 blurry images, 3 tiny beings that would become people. I made copies, Rebecca said, for your records, for whatever you want to do with them. Charlie stared at the images, at the proof that miracles still happened, even to people who were dying. Rebecca, tell me the truth. How long do I really have? Rebecca sat on the edge of the bed. If we're lucky, 6 months. Maybe you'll make it to 30 weeks gestation. Maybe the babies will survive at that point. Maybe you will too. And if we're not lucky, then we lose you both. Charlie nodded slowly. Then I guess we better make these 6 months count. She looked at the ultrasound images again, at her 3 impossible children, at the only legacy she would ever leave behind. Rebecca, I need you to promise me something. Anything. If it comes down to choosing between me and them, choose them every time, no matter what. Charlie, promise me. Rebecca's eyes filled with tears. I promise. Charlie pressed the images to her chest, felt her damaged heart beat against them, felt the 3 smaller hearts beating inside her. Then let's do this, she said. Let's bring them home. The house was too quiet when they came home. Charlie heard every sound, the click of the front door closing, the hum of the refrigerator, the ticking of the grandfather clock in the hallway. Each noise felt amplified, like her body was hyper-aware that time was running out. Nate set her overnight bag by the stairs. You should rest, he said. Doctor's orders. I've been resting for 2 days. And you'll keep resting. I'll work from home this week. Keep an eye on you. He said it like a promise, but his phone was already out, already pulling him away. Charlie walked slowly to the living room, sat carefully on the couch. The same couch where she'd cried after every negative pregnancy test. The same couch where she'd told Nate maybe they should look into adoption. The same couch where he'd said maybe they should just accept being childless. Now she was pregnant with 3 babies. And dying. The universe had a twisted sense of humor. Nate disappeared into his study. She heard him on a call, his voice rising, something about quarterly projections and investor confidence. The words blurred together. Charlie pulled out her phone, looked at the ultrasound photos Rebecca had sent her. 3 tiny beings, each one about the size of a plum, hearts already beating, brains already forming, lives already beginning. She pressed her hand to her stomach. Still flat, no sign of the chaos happening inside. Hi, she whispered. I'm your mom. I don't know if you can hear me yet, but I'm here, and I'm going to do everything I can to get you here safely. Her phone buzzed. Grace, her best friend since college. Oh my God, I just heard. Are you okay? Are you home? I'm coming over. You don't have to. Too late, already in the car. Grace arrived 20 minutes later, burst through the door like a hurricane, wrapped Charlie in a hug that was too tight and exactly right. Triplets, Grace said. You're having triplets. Do you know how insane that is? Do you know the odds? About 1 in 10,000 for natural conception, Charlie said. Rebecca told me. And you're really going through with it? Even with your heart? Even with my heart. Grace pulled back, studied her face. You're sure about this? I've never been more sure about anything. Okay then, what do you need? What can I do? Just be here when it gets bad. When I'm scared, just be here. Always, Grace promised. They sat together on the couch, looked at the ultrasound photos, made lists of baby names, talked about nursery themes, pretended for a moment that this was normal, that death wasn't waiting in the wings. Nate emerged from his study around noon, seemed surprised to see Grace there. Oh, hello, Grace. Nate? Her voice was cool. Grace had never quite warmed to him, said he was too polished, too perfect, too much like the tech bros she'd divorced her way out of a bad marriage from. I should get back to work, Nate said. Charlie, do you need anything? I'm fine. He nodded, disappeared back into the study, closed the door. Grace waited until she heard the click of the latch, then leaned close to Charlie. Is it just me, or is he acting weird? He's stressed. Finding out your wife is pregnant with triplets and might die tends to stress people out. No, it's more than that. He's been weird for months. You've noticed it too, I can tell. Charlie had noticed. Of course she had. The late nights, the weekend trips, the new cologne. The way he kept his phone face down now. The way he turned away when he answered calls. But she'd convinced herself it was nothing. Work, stress, normal marriage stuff. He's going through something, Charlie said. Men his age, the company just went through a major acquisition. He's under a lot of pressure. If you say so. Grace didn't sound convinced. They spent the afternoon together, ordered takeout, watched old movies, pretended everything was fine. When Grace left, the quietness came back, heavier than before. Charlie found herself wandering the house, looking at things with new eyes. The photos on the mantle, their wedding picture, Nate in his tux, her in white, both of them so young, so hopeful. 10 years ago, a lifetime ago. She picked up the frame, studied his face in the photo, tried to remember when he'd looked at her like that, like she was the only person in the world. She couldn't remember. It had been too long. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer. Mrs. Thornton? Yes? This is Pine Valley Country Club. We have Mr. Thornton's jacket from last weekend. He left it in the dining room. Would he like us to hold it, or should we have it clean? What jacket? The Navy sport coat. He left it after brunch on Sunday. Charlie's mind went blank. Sunday. Last Sunday. Nate said he'd been at the office all day. Investor meetings. Mrs. Thornton? Yes, have it cleaned. We'll pick it up later. She hung up, stared at the phone, told herself there was an explanation. Maybe he'd met investors at the club. Maybe it was a business brunch. Maybe she was being paranoid. But then why hadn't he mentioned it? Margaret arrived that evening. She'd packed a bag, announced she was staying for a while. You need someone here, Margaret said, and that someone is me. Mom, you don't have to. Hush, I'm retired. I've got nothing but time, and you're pregnant with my grandchildren while dealing with a serious heart condition. I'm staying. Charlie didn't argue. She was too tired to argue. Margaret moved into the guest room, unpacked her things with the efficiency of a woman who had spent 40 years as a nurse. She took one look around the house and started making changes. You need grab bars in the bathroom, non-slip mats, a chair for the shower. If you're going to get weaker, we need to prepare. I'm not an invalid, not yet, but pregnancy is hard enough without a bad heart. Let me help. That night, Charlie lay in bed next to Nate. He was on his phone, scrolling through something. The blue light from the screen cast shadows on his face. Nate? The country club called. They have your jacket. He didn't look up. What jacket? The Navy one from Sunday brunch. His fingers stopped scrolling, just for a second, then continued. Oh, right. Met with some investors. Boring stuff. You said you were at the office on Sunday. Did I? Must have gotten my days mixed up. This week has been crazy. He turned away. Put the phone on the nightstand, face down, always face down now. Good night, he said. Charlie lay in the dark, listened to his breathing even out, listened to her own heart beat its damaged rhythm, felt the 3 small lives growing inside her. Something was wrong. She knew it, felt it in her bones. But she was too tired to figure out what, too scared to ask the questions that needed asking. She pressed her hands to her stomach, made a silent promise. Whatever's happening, whatever's coming, I'll protect you, no matter what. Even if that meant protecting them from their own father. Grace hired the private investigator on a Tuesday. His name was Frank Marino, 50-something, ex-cop, ran a small agency that specialized in marital infidelity. Grace had used him during her own divorce 3 years ago. He'd found everything she needed in less than a week. I don't want to do this behind Charlie's back, Grace said, but she's too sick and too pregnant to deal with stress. I need to know what's going on with Nate before it explodes in her face. Frank nodded. Give me 5 days. I'll have answers. He had them in 3. The photos came via encrypted email. Grace opened them alone in her apartment, poured herself wine, clicked through the evidence. Nate and a woman. Young, mid-20s, blonde, beautiful in that carefully calculated way. Designer clothes, perfect makeup, the kind of woman who knew exactly what she was worth. Photo 1, leaving Nate's office building together, her hand on his arm. Photo 2, in a restaurant, leaning close, laughing. Photo 3, in the parking garage, his hand on her lower back. Photo 4, kissing, no ambiguity, no deniability, just kissing. Grace felt sick, then angry, then absolutely furious. She called Frank. Who is she? Vivian Cross, 29 years old, started as Nate's executive assistant 18 months ago, promoted to director of strategic initiatives 6 months later. They've been careful, but not careful enough. How long? At least 14 months, maybe longer. 14 months. Grace did the math. That's before Charlie's last fertility treatment. Before they found out it was hopeless. He was cheating the whole time. Looks that way. I need everything you've got. Credit card statements, hotel reservations, text messages if you can get them. I need a complete timeline. You got it? Grace spent the next 2 days deciding what to do. Tell Charlie now? Wait, how do you tell your best friend that her husband is cheating while she's pregnant with triplets and dying? The universe made the decision for her. Charlie called. Her voice was strained. Can you come over? I need you. Grace arrived in 15 minutes. Found Charlie in the nursery, the room that was supposed to be a home office. The room they'd painted yellow because Charlie refused to find out the baby's genders. She wanted to be surprised. 3 cribs, 3 changing tables, 3 of everything. Ordered online, delivered yesterday. Charlie had been trying to assemble them alone. "I can't do it," Charlie said. She was sitting on the floor, surrounded by instruction manuals and Allen wrenches. "I'm too weak. Everything hurts. And Nate is at the office again." "He's always at the office." Grace sat beside her. "Where's Margaret?" "Doctor's appointment. Won't be back for an hour." "Okay, then I'm helping. We'll figure this out." They worked together, Grace reading instructions, Charlie handing her pieces. It was slow going, but eventually one crib took shape, then another, then the third. "There," Grace said, 3 cribs for 3 babies. Charlie ran her hand along the railing. "They're real now. Before it was abstract, but now I can see them here, sleeping, growing." "Charlie, I need to tell you something." Something in Grace's voice made Charlie look up. "What?" Grace pulled out her phone, showed her the photos. Watched Charlie's face change, watched the color drain, watched hope die in real time. "How long?" Charlie's voice was barely a whisper. "Frank says at least 14 months. 14, that means during the treatments, while I was taking hormones. While I was having procedures, while I was crying in the bathroom because my body kept failing. He was with her. I'm so sorry." Charlie stared at the photos, at the woman who looked nothing like her, who was everything she wasn't, young, healthy, not dying. "Who is she?" "Vivian Cross, your husband's director of strategic initiatives, former executive assistant. I've met her 3 months ago at a company party. She was nice, professional. She brought me sparkling water because I wasn't drinking." Charlie laughed. It came out bitter. "She was kind to me the whole time she was sleeping with my husband. She was kind." Grace took Charlie's hand. "What do you want to do?" "I don't know. Confront him? Throw him out? Divorce him?" "You could. But then what?" "I'm dying, Grace. I've got maybe 6 months left. Maybe less. If I start a divorce now, it'll drag on for months. The stress could kill me faster. Kill the babies." Charlie pressed both hands to her stomach. She was 12 weeks now, starting to show. A small bump. Proof of life. "I can't risk them. Not for anything. Not even for my pride." "So what then? You just let him keep cheating?" "No, I get smart. I protect my babies. And then I make sure she gets exactly what she deserves." The way Charlie said it made Grace shiver. "What are you thinking?" "I'm thinking I need to talk to Ethan Monroe." Ethan was the family attorney, old family friend. His kids and Charlie had gone to summer camp together. He was brilliant, ruthless when he needed to be, and loyal to Charlie's family above all else. Charlie called him that night. He came to the house the next morning, listened to everything, looked at the photos, made notes on his legal pad in neat block letters. "You want to protect the children's inheritance," Ethan said. "Make sure Nate can't give it to his mistress." "Yes?" "Then we create an irrevocable trust. The children become the primary beneficiaries. Nate gets enough to live on, a salary for his work with the company, but the assets themselves protected, untouchable." "Can we do that?" "We can do anything. The question is whether Nate will sign it." "What if I tell him it's standard estate planning, that we need to protect the children in case anything happens to me?" "He might buy that, especially if he's not paying attention, which from what you've described, he's not." They spent 3 hours going over details, creating structure, building a fortress of legalese that would protect 3 children who hadn't even been born yet. When Ethan left, Charlie felt better, more in control, like she had a plan. But first, she needed proof. Not just proof of the affair. Proof that the babies were Nate's. Proof that would stand up in any court. Proof that no one could question. She called Rebecca. "I need a favor." "Name it." "Prenatal paternity testing, is it safe?" "For what you're planning? Absolutely. We can do it at your 20-week ultrasound, non-invasive, no risk to you or the babies. And it'll hold up legally? In any court in the country." "Then let's do it." The weeks crawled by. Charlie's body changed. Her belly grew. The babies moved inside her now. Tiny flutters that felt like butterflies, like hope. But her heart was failing faster than expected. She could feel it. The way she ran out of breath climbing stairs. The way she needed to sit down after walking to the mailbox. The way her ankles swelled by evening. Margaret saw it too. Started cooking meals that were good for heart health. Started timing Charlie's rest periods. Started treating her like the cardiac patient she was. Nate barely noticed. He was home less and less. Always an excuse, always a crisis, always something more important than his dying wife. But he was there for the 20-week ultrasound, held Charlie's hand, watched the screen as Rebecca measured 3 babies, checked 3 spines, counted 3 sets of fingers and toes. "They're perfect," Rebecca said. "All 3 developing exactly as they should." "Do you want to know the genders?" Nate asked. "No," Charlie said quickly. "I want to be surprised." Rebecca ran the paternity test without Nate knowing. Told him it was just routine blood work. He didn't question it. Didn't question anything these days. The results came back 2 days later. 99.9% probability. Nathaniel Thornton was the father, all 3 babies. No doubt, no question. Charlie filed the results with Ethan, added them to the growing stack of documents that would protect her children. And then she waited. Because this was a long game, and Charlie had always been good at the long game. She started documenting everything. Every late night, every suspicious phone call, every time Nate came home smelling like perfume that wasn't hers. She took photos of credit card statements, wrote down dates and times, created a timeline that would make Frank Marino proud. And she started planning. Not for revenge. Revenge required being alive to enjoy it. She was planning for protection, for justice, for making sure 3 innocent babies inherited what was rightfully theirs. Late one night, Charlie couldn't sleep. She walked through the dark house, ended up in the nursery. The crib stood ready, empty, waiting. She sat in the rocking chair Grace had bought her, pressed her hand to her growing belly, felt 3 babies move inside her, 3 separate lives, 3 separate futures. "I'm going to protect you," she whispered. "No matter what happens to me, no matter what your father does, you're going to be okay. You're going to have everything you need, I promise." Her phone buzzed. Text from an unknown number. She opened it. It was Vivian. Charlie recognized her from the photos. Blonde, beautiful, smiling. The text said, "Hi, Mrs. Thornton. Nate mentioned you might need help around the house during your pregnancy. I'd love to assist. What's your schedule like?" Charlie stared at the message, at the audacity, the absolute audacity of this woman. She typed back, "That's very kind. Let me check with my husband and get back to you." Then she took a screenshot, sent it to Ethan with the message, "She's coming into my home. Document everything." Because this wasn't just an affair anymore. This was a war, a quiet war, a polite war, a war fought with legal documents and phone screenshots and medical records. Charlie was dying, but she wasn't dead yet. And she was going to make damn sure that when she died, her children were protected from everyone, including their own father. Vivian arrived on a Thursday morning with coffee from the expensive place downtown. 2 decaf lattes, she said brightly, and gluten-free muffins. "I read that pregnant women shouldn't have caffeine." Charlie took the coffee, smiled, said thank you, hated every second of it. Margaret watched from the kitchen, her nurse's face neutral, observing, seeing everything. "So what can I help with today?" Vivian asked. She was wearing yoga pants and a silk top, designer casual, trying too hard to look effortless. "Actually, I'm doing okay," Charlie said, "but I appreciate you offering. Nate's really worried about you. He talks about you all the time at the office." The lie was so smooth, so practiced. Charlie wondered how many times Vivian had lied to her face, how many times she'd smiled while planning Charlie's funeral. "He's very thoughtful," Charlie said, "playing the game, being polite, because women like Vivian expected women like Charlie to be polite." They sat in the living room, made small talk. Vivian asked questions about the pregnancy, about the nursery, about baby names. Every question felt like an invasion, like she was cataloging what would be hers later. After an hour, Vivian left, kissed Charlie on both cheeks, European style, said she'd check in next week. The moment the door closed, Margaret spoke. "That woman wants you dead." "I know. She was looking around this house like she already owns it. She thinks she does." "And Nate knows?" "Nate asked her to come, told me we needed help, hired her as our household manager." Margaret's face went hard. "Your father would have thrown him out. Dad would have done a lot of things, but I'm not Dad, and I don't have time for pride." Charlie pulled out her laptop, opened the documents Ethan had prepared. Pages and pages of trust structures, asset protection, guardianship clauses. "I need to get Nate to sign these," she said, "before he realizes what they mean." "How?" "By making him think they're standard estate planning, by being the sweet, dying wife who just wants to make sure the babies are protected. Margaret sat beside her, read through the documents. Her lips moved silently as she processed the legal language. "This is brilliant," she said finally. "He won't inherit anything except salary. $150,000 a year. Enough to live on, not enough to fund a mistress. And if he remarries within 5 years, guardianship transfers to you automatically. He can't contest it. It's airtight." "Charlie, this is ruthless." "I learned from the best." Charlie looked at her mother. "You raised me to be smart, to think ahead, to protect myself. I'm just doing what you taught me." That night, Charlie made Nate's favorite dinner. Margaret helped. Roasted chicken, garlic mashed potatoes, fresh bread. The meal smelled like home, like better times. Nate came home at 7, surprised by the effort, pleased even. "This is nice," he said. "What's the occasion?" "No occasion. Just wanted to do something normal before everything gets harder." They ate together, the three of them. Margaret kept the conversation light, asked about work, about the company, about anything except the obvious. After dinner, Charlie brought out the documents, set them on the table like they were nothing important. "Ethan sent these over," she said casually. "Estate planning stuff. He says we need to update everything now that we're having the babies." Nate barely glanced at them. "What are they?" "Boring legal stuff, trust for the children, making sure they're protected if anything happens to either of us." "Makes sense. Where do I sign?" Charlie showed him, page after page. He signed without reading, barely paying attention, thinking about something else, someone else. His phone buzzed. He glanced at it, smiled slightly, then caught himself. "Work?" Charlie asked innocently. "Yeah, always something." He finished signing, pushed the papers back to her, kissed her forehead. "I have some calls to make," he said. "I'll be in my study." The moment he left, Margaret exhaled. He didn't read any of it. He never does. That's what executive summaries are for. He trusts other people to handle details. And now those details have locked him out of his own fortune. Not his fortune, our children's fortune. There's a difference. Charlie gathered the documents, put them in her bag, would drop them at Ethan's office tomorrow for notarization and filing. Phase 1 complete. But there was more to do. So much more. Over the next 2 weeks, Charlie's pregnancy became harder. She was 24 weeks now. The babies were growing, her body was straining. Her feet swelled so badly she couldn't wear shoes. Her back ached constantly. Her heart skipped beats at random times, made her dizzy, made her scared. Rebecca ordered modified bed rest, nothing strenuous, lots of water, monitor blood pressure 3 times a day. Margaret took over everything. Cooking, cleaning, managing Charlie's medications, timing her rest periods, being the mother and the nurse at the same time. Nate worked longer hours, came home later. Sometimes didn't come home at all. Crashing at the office, he'd text, "Big project deadline, love you." Charlie knew where he really was, knew who he was with, didn't bother confronting him. What was the point? Instead, she focused on her videos. She started recording them at 26 weeks, when the babies were big enough to probably survive if something went wrong, when death felt close enough to touch. She set up her phone in the nursery, sat in the rocking chair, and talked to 3 children who couldn't hear her yet. "Hi, babies. I'm your mom. Today you're 6 months old. Well, 6 months in utero, which is different. But still, you're here and I'm here and we're going to meet soon." She paused, wiped her eyes, kept going. "I'm making these videos because I might not be here for everything. For your first steps, your first words, your first day of school, and I need you to know who I was, who you came from." She told them about her life, about meeting their father, about falling in love, about wanting them so badly it hurt. She didn't mention the affair, didn't mention Vivian. Those were conversations for later, for when they were old enough to understand. She made videos for every milestone. 1st birthdays, 5th birthdays, 10th, graduation, wedding days. "I hope you find someone who loves you the way you deserve to be loved," she said in the wedding video. "Someone who shows up, who stays, who chooses you every single day. Don't settle for less than that. You're worth more." She made lists of things they should know. Her favorite books, her favorite songs, how she liked her coffee, what made her laugh. "I ugly cried at every Disney movie," she recorded. "Even the happy ones, especially the happy ones. If you're anything like me, you will too. That's okay. Feel your feelings. They're yours." She recorded advice, life lessons, warnings. "Be careful who you trust. Not everyone who smiles at you is your friend. Some people will smile while planning how to hurt you. Watch what people do, not what they say. Late at night, when she couldn't sleep, she'd play the videos back. Watch herself talking to three babies who might never remember her, might only know her through these recordings. It was the saddest thing she'd ever done, and the most important. At 27 weeks, everything changed. Charlie was in the kitchen, trying to make tea, reached for a mug, felt something warm between her legs. She looked down. Water. Clear water, running down her thighs, puddling on the floor. "Mom," she called, her voice surprisingly calm. "I think my water just broke." Margaret appeared, looked at the puddle. Her face went pale. "All of it?" "I don't know. I think so." Okay, we're going to the hospital. Right now. Can you walk?" "I think so." They got Charlie into the car. Margaret drove too fast, ran 2 red lights, didn't care. At the hospital, they rushed Charlie to labor and delivery. Dr. Rebecca was already there, already in scrubs, already preparing. 27 weeks, Rebecca said. "The babies need more time." "I know," Charlie gasped. The contractions were starting. Sharp, painful, coming too fast. "We can try to stop labor, give you steroids for the baby's lungs, buy a few more days." "Do it." They gave her magnesium sulfate. It made her feel like she was burning from the inside, made her nauseous, made everything worse. But it stopped the contractions, slowed everything down. "You're staying here," Rebecca said. "Hospital bed rest until delivery, which could be days, could be weeks. We're going to try for 30 weeks minimum." Charlie nodded, too exhausted to argue. Nate arrived hours later, looking harried, smelling like perfume. "I came as soon as I could," he said. Margaret looked at him with pure contempt, said nothing. "Are you okay?" he asked Charlie. "I'm alive. The babies are alive. That's what matters." He stayed for an hour, made calls from the hallway, left before dinner. "I'll be back tomorrow," he said, "I promise." He wasn't back tomorrow, or the next day, or the day after that. Margaret stayed, Grace stayed, even Ethan visited, brought papers for Charlie to review. Updates on the trust, on the estate planning, on the fortress they were building around 3 unborn babies. "It's done," Ethan said. "Everything filed, everything notarized, everything legal and binding. Your children are protected." Charlie closed her eyes, felt the babies move inside her, felt her heart struggle to keep up. "Thank you," she whispered. "Don't thank me yet. We still have to make sure you survive long enough to deliver them." "I will. I have to." And she did. 3 more weeks. 3 more weeks of hospital food and fetal monitoring and counting contractions. 3 more weeks of Nate's empty promises and Vivian's fake concern and Margaret's fierce protection. 3 more weeks until everything fell apart. The contractions started again at 2 in the morning. Charlie felt the first one in her sleep. A tightening, a pressure. Nothing too bad. She told herself it was nothing. Braxton Hicks, false labor, her body practicing. The second contraction came 5 minutes later. Harder, sharper, real. She pressed the call button. The nurse appeared within seconds. "It's happening," Charlie said. The room exploded into controlled chaos. Nurses, doctors, equipment rolling in, lights too bright, voices too loud. Rebecca appeared in scrubs. Dr. Porter, the neonatal specialist, right behind her. 30 weeks exactly, Rebecca said. "Not ideal, but viable. We can do this." They wheeled Charlie to the operating room. Emergency C-section, 3 babies coming at once. Her heart already struggling. Blood pressure too high, too much stress, too much everything. Margaret squeezed her hand. "You've got this, baby girl. You're stronger than you know." "I'm scared." "Good. That means you're human, but you're also a Hayes woman, and we don't quit." They gave Charlie the epidural, numbed her from the chest down, put up the blue drape so she couldn't see, but she could hear. Every sound, every word. Heart rate dropping, blood pressure spiking. "We need to move faster." Then the most beautiful sound she'd ever heard. A baby crying, thin, reedy, furious at being born too soon. Baby A, female, 2 pounds 3 ounces. Emma. Her Emma. Here. Alive. Crying. Baby B, male, 2 pounds even. Oliver. Her Oliver. Smaller, quieter, but breathing. Baby C, female, 2 pounds 4 ounces. Sophia. Her Sophia, the biggest, the fighter. 3 babies. 3 perfect, impossible miracles. Charlie tried to see them, but the drape blocked everything. She heard them being whisked away. To the NICU, to incubators, to machines that would breathe for them until they learned how. "Charlie," Rebecca's voice was sharp. Stay with me. I'm here. Your heart. It's in arrhythmia. We need to. The world went sideways, then black. Charlie woke up hours later in the ICU. Tubes everywhere. Machines beeping. Margaret asleep in the chair beside her bed. Mom, Charlie croaked. Margaret jolted awake. Oh, thank God, you scared us. You coded twice on the table. The babies? They're alive. In the NICU, fighting but alive. I want to see them. Not yet. You're too weak. Another day or two. Then we'll get you down there. Charlie closed her eyes, felt tears leak out. I almost died. You did die twice, but Rebecca brought you back. Because you're not done yet. Those babies need you. Nate appeared that afternoon, looking genuinely shaken, pale, scared. Charlie, Jesus, they said you died. I got better. He laughed. It came out choked. Don't joke, I was so scared. He held her hand, cried, promised to be better, to be present, to be the husband she needed. She wanted to believe him. Part of her did believe him. The part that remembered who he used to be. Before the money, before the mistress, before everything went wrong. I saw them, he said, the babies. They're so small, so fragile, but they're here. We're parents, Charlie. We did it. You should go be with them, she said. They need their father. He nodded, kissed her forehead, left. Margaret watched him go. He's scared. Fear makes people behave, but it doesn't make them change. I know. 3 days later, they moved Charlie to a regular room, set up a wheelchair, took her down to the NICU. The unit was quiet, dimly lit, full of tiny plastic boxes with tinier humans inside. Emma was in isolette 3, tubes in her nose, wires taped to her chest, eyes closed, but breathing on her own, strong, fighting. Oliver was in isolette 5, still on a ventilator, his little chest rising and falling with mechanical precision, smaller than his sister's, struggling more, but alive. Sophia was in isolette 7, doing best of all, already off the ventilator, just oxygen now, already gaining weight. The fighter Margaret had predicted she'd be. Charlie reached through the porthole, touched Emma's tiny hand. It was smaller than her thumb, softer than anything she'd ever felt. Hi, baby girl, she whispered. I'm your mom. I'm here. I'm always going to be here. Emma's fingers wrapped around hers. The grip was weak, but it was there. Real. Proof of life. Charlie broke down, sobbed, let all the fear and grief and love pour out. I'm sorry, she said. I'm sorry you had to come so early. I'm sorry I couldn't keep you safe longer. But you're here now, and we're going to fight, all of us, together. She moved to Oliver's isolette. He looked so fragile, so breakable, like he might stop breathing if she looked away. You're my brave boy, she told him. You're going to be okay. I know it's hard right now, but you're a Thornton, and Thorntons don't quit. At Sophia's isolette, she found her littlest fighter awake, eyes open, looking around, seeing the world for the first time. Hello, my love. You're the strong one, aren't you? Taking care of your brother and sister? That's okay, but don't forget to rest. Let the nurses help. Let me help. She spent 3 hours there, moving between isolettes, talking to each baby, telling them stories, singing lullabies, being their mother in the only way she could. The NICU became her world. She spent every waking moment there, learned the routines, the feeding schedules, the medication times, memorized every wire and tube and machine. Margaret was always with her, learning too, taking notes, asking questions, preparing for when they could bring the babies home. Nate visited, but not as much as he should. Always an excuse, always a crisis, always something more important. Charlie noticed. Of course she noticed, but she was too tired to care. The babies took everything she had, every ounce of strength, every moment of focus. One night, 2 weeks after delivery, Charlie couldn't sleep. Her heart was acting up again, skipping beats, racing, then slowing too much. She went down to the NICU at 3 in the morning, found one of the nurses doing rounds. Can I stay? Charlie asked. Just for a little while. Stay as long as you want, honey. You're their mama. Charlie sat between the 3 isolettes, looked at her babies, her perfect, impossible miracles. I'm dying, she told him softly. You probably can't understand that, but I am, my heart. It's giving out. The doctors think I have weeks, maybe a month or 2. Emma moved slightly, stretched her tiny arms. But that's okay, because you're here, you're alive, and I've made sure you'll be protected, no matter what happens to me. She told them about the trust, about Margaret, about Grace, about all the people who would love them when she couldn't. Your father loves you, she said. I have to believe that. But he's lost right now. He's made mistakes, bad ones, but maybe someday he'll find his way back. Oliver's ventilator hissed, in, out, the most precious sound in the world. I'm recording videos for you, for all your birthdays, for your graduations, for your wedding days, so you'll know who I was, who I wanted to be. Sophia yawned, a tiny yawn, the most beautiful thing Charlie had ever seen. I wish I could stay. God, I wish I could stay. I want to see you grow up. I want to see who you become. I want to be at every birthday party, every school play, every moment. Her voice broke. Tears fell. But I can't, and I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry I'm leaving you. I'm sorry your mother is going to be a ghost, a voice on videos, a person you'll never really know. She wiped her eyes, took a shaky breath. But I want you to know this. I fought for you every single day, every single breath. I fought to bring you here, to give you life, to give you a chance. She looked at each baby, memorized their faces, committed every detail to memory. And I would do it again, 1,000 times, even knowing it would kill me. Because you're worth it. You're worth everything. A noise behind her. Charlie turned. Vivienne stood in the doorway, wearing a visitor badge, holding a coffee cup. Oh, I didn't know you'd be here. Charlie's blood ran cold. What are you doing here? Nate asked me to check on the babies. He's in meetings all night. He wanted someone from the family here. From the family, like she was already part of it. Charlie forced herself to stay calm. That's not necessary. I'm here. Of course. I just meant, you know, as support. Vivienne stepped closer, looked at the isolettes. They're so small. They're premature. That's why they're small. Do they even have a good chance? I mean, at this size. Something in her tone, cold, calculating, like she was assessing odds, like she was waiting for them to fail. Charlie felt rage rise, hot, dangerous, but she pushed it down, smiled instead. They have an excellent chance. The doctors are very optimistic. That's good. That's good. Vivienne didn't sound like she thought it was good. Well, I should go. Let you have your time. She left. Her perfume lingered. Expensive, cloying. Charlie sat very still, processed what just happened. The woman who was sleeping with her husband, the woman who wanted her dead, standing in the NICU, looking at her babies like they were obstacles. She pulled out her phone, texted Grace. Get Frank. I need cameras. I need recordings. I need everything. It's not enough to protect them legally. I need to protect them physically. Grace responded immediately. On it. The next morning, Charlie talked to the NICU staff, asked about security, about visitor restrictions, about who could and couldn't see the babies. Only people on the approved list, the head nurse said, parents and designated family members. Remove Vivienne Cross from any lists. She's not approved. She's never approved. Done. Charlie felt better, safer. But she knew it wasn't enough. Vivienne had shown her hand, had revealed herself. And now Charlie knew exactly what she was dealing with. Not just a mistress, a predator. Someone who was waiting for opportunities, for weaknesses, for moments to strike. Charlie wouldn't give her any. Jack Thornton arrived on a Tuesday without warning. Charlie was in the NICU when the nurses told her she had a visitor. Important visitor, waiting in the family lounge. She found Jack standing by the window. 70 years old, silver hair, sharp eyes, looking every inch the tech titan he'd been for 4 decades. Hello, Charlotte. Jack. She was surprised. He lived in Seattle, only visited once or twice a year. I didn't know you were coming. I came as soon as I heard about the babies and about your condition. He turned from the window. His expression was serious, sad. May I see them, my grandchildren? Charlie took him to the NICU, showed him Emma, Oliver, Sophia, watched as his face softened, as this hard man who'd built empires melted at the sight of 3 tiny babies. They're beautiful, he said quietly. They look like you. They look like everyone. That's what babies do. No, they have your chin, your nose. They're Hayes babies as much as Thornton babies. He reached through the porthole, touched Oliver's hand. The baby's fingers curled reflexively. He's going to be okay, Jack said. They all are. They're fighters, like their mother. They sat in the family lounge afterward. Jack ordered coffee from the cafeteria. Real coffee, not the hospital sludge. Charlotte, I need to tell you something, and you're not going to like it. If it's about Nate and Vivienne, I already know. Jack's eyebrows rose. You know? For 2 months now, Grace hired an investigator. And you haven't thrown him out? I'm dying, Jack. I don't have time for divorce proceedings. I need to focus on keeping myself alive long enough for the babies to survive. Jack nodded slowly. That's smart, pragmatic. Your father would be proud. I doubt that. He would, because you're not letting emotion cloud your judgment. You're thinking strategically. Jack set down his coffee, leaned forward. I've known about the affair for 6 months. I hired my own investigator, and I found things that worry me. What things? Vivian Cross isn't who she claims to be. Her resume is fabricated. Her references are fake. Her entire background is manufactured. Charlie felt cold. What do you mean? I mean, she's done this before 3 times. 3 different wealthy men, 2 dead, 1 divorced. Each time she positioned herself as the grieving girlfriend or the wronged mistress. Each time she walked away with money. She's a professional. She's a predator. She finds vulnerable, wealthy men, seduces them, waits for the right moment, then collects. Does Nate know? I tried to tell him. Twice. He refused to listen. Said I was being controlling. Said I didn't understand. Said I was trying to ruin his happiness. Jack's voice was bitter, angry. My son has become someone I don't recognize. Someone who abandons his dying wife for a con artist. Someone who prioritizes his own comfort over his family's survival. He's always been weak, Charlie said quietly. I just didn't want to see it. He wasn't always. When he was young, he had principles, drive, integrity. But the money changed him. Success changed him. Or maybe it just revealed who he always was. They sat in silence for a moment. I'm changing my will, Jack said. Nate isn't inheriting the family estate. It's going to your children instead. All of it, the Seattle property, the investment portfolio, everything. Jack, you don't have to. Yes, I do, because those babies deserve better than what their father is giving them. And you deserve support, real support, not empty promises. He pulled out a folder, legal documents, already prepared. My attorneys have drawn up everything. The estate will be held in trust for Emma, Oliver, and Sophia. You're the trustee while you're alive. Margaret takes over after you. Nate has no access, no control, no say. Charlie looked at the papers. At this man who barely knew her, who was giving her children his entire legacy. Why are you doing this? Because family is supposed to protect family. And right now, you and those babies are the only family worth protecting. That afternoon, there was a hospital fundraiser, annual event, board members, major donors. Usually Charlie would skip it, but Jack suggested she go. Show them you're fighting, he said. Show them you're not giving up. So she went, put on makeup, a maternity dress that hid how sick she was, smiled, made small talk, pretended everything was fine. Nate was there, surprised to see her, concerned. Charlie, you should be resting. I'm fine. I wanted to support the hospital. They've been so good to us. Jack appeared beside them. The tension was immediate. Dad, I didn't know you were in town. I came to see my grandchildren and to have some conversations. The way he said it made Nate nervous. What conversations? About your priorities, your choices, your complete failure as a husband and father. People nearby turned, pretended not to listen while listening to everything. Dad, this isn't the place. You're right, there is no place. Because every place is the wrong place for you to be abandoning your dying wife. I'm not abandoning. She's in the hospital, fighting for her life, fighting for your children's lives. And where are you with your mistress? Planning your future like Charlotte is already dead. Nate's face went red. You don't know what you're talking about. Don't I? I have investigators too, Nathaniel. I know exactly what I'm talking about. And so does everyone in this room now. The fundraiser had gone silent. Everyone watching, everyone judging. Then the doors opened. Vivienne walked in, stunning in a cocktail dress, completely oblivious to the situation. Nate, there you are. I've been looking for... She saw Charlie, saw Jack, saw the crowd watching. Her smile faltered. Oh, I didn't realize. I was just... Nate asked me to... Get out, Jack said. His voice was cold, hard, dangerous. Excuse me. You heard me. Get out of this hospital, away from my family, before I have you removed. You can't speak to me like that. I just did, and I'll do more. I'll destroy you, expose you, make sure everyone knows exactly what you are. A con artist, a predator, a woman who preys on vulnerable men and grieving families. Vivienne looked at Nate, waiting for him to defend her, to protect her. He said nothing, just stood there, frozen. This is ridiculous, Vivienne said, but her voice shook. Nate, tell them we... There is no we, Jack said. There's my son, who's made terrible choices. And there's you who took advantage of those choices. Those are two separate things. He turned to Nate. You have a decision to make. Your wife and children or this woman, choose. Dad, you can't just... I can, and I will. I'm cutting you off. Effective immediately. The family trust, the investment accounts, the Seattle properties. None of it is yours anymore. It's going to your children, to Emma, Oliver, and Sophia. They're the only Thorntons who deserve the family legacy. Nate looked like he'd been slapped. You can't do that. I already did. Papers filed this morning. My attorneys are very efficient. The crowd was loving this. The drama, the scandal, the public breakdown of one of Seattle's most powerful families. Charlie stood quietly, watched it happen, felt nothing. She was too tired to feel anything except relief. Relief that someone was fighting for her. Relief that someone saw the truth. Relief that she wasn't alone. Vivian left first, stormed out, her heels clicking against the marble floor, the sound echoing like gunshots. Nate followed shortly after. Didn't look at Charlie, didn't say goodbye, just left. Jack turned to the crowd, smiled, the smile of a man who just won. Thank you all for your support of the hospital, he said pleasantly. The children's wing does excellent work, as my daughter-in-law can attest. He offered Charlie his arm. She took it. Let him lead her back to the elevator, back to the NICU, back to the only thing that mattered. Thank you, she said once they were alone. Don't thank me. I should have done that months ago. He's your son, and those babies are my grandchildren, and you're their mother, which makes you more important to me than he is. They reached the NICU, found Margaret already there, holding baby Emma, feeding her through the tube, singing softly. Jack watched for a moment, then spoke quietly. My wife died 5 years ago, cancer. I watched her fight, watched her plan, watched her put everything in order, so I'd be okay after she was gone. He looked at Charlie. You remind me of her. Strong when you should be broken, planning when you should be grieving, protecting when you should be protected. I don't feel strong. Neither did she, but she was, and so are you. Over the next week, the babies improved. Emma came off all support, breathing room air, gaining weight, getting stronger. Sophia was already pushing 3 pounds, eating well, sleeping well. The success story. Oliver struggled more, still needed oxygen, still needed feeding support, but he was stable, fighting, surviving. Charlie's heart was failing faster. She knew it. Rebecca knew it. Margaret knew it. They didn't talk about it, just worked around it, adjusted medications, shortened visits, made sure Charlie rested between rounds. But time was running out. They all felt it, the clock ticking down, the sand running through the hourglass. Charlie needed to finish what she'd started before it was too late. The babies came home at 8 weeks old, Emma first, then Sophia 2 days later, Oliver 3 days after that. Each departure from the NICU felt like a miracle and a terror at the same time. Margaret transformed the house. 3 bassinets in the master bedroom. Bottles everywhere. Diapers stacked in every room. The house smelled like baby powder and formula and exhaustion. They hired 3 baby nurses, around-the-clock coverage, because Charlie was too weak to handle triplets alone, because her heart gave out more every day, because she was dying and everyone knew it. Nate moved out. He said it was temporary, said he needed space, said the stress was too much. Margaret watched him pack his things, her face stone cold. You're a coward. You don't understand. I understand perfectly. Your wife is dying, your children need you, and you're running to your mistress because real life is too hard. It's not like that. Then what is it like, Nathaniel? Explain it to me. Explain how leaving your dying wife is anything but cowardice. He couldn't. He just left. Moved into his downtown apartment, the one Charlie hadn't known about, the one he shared with Vivian. Charlie felt nothing when he left. Maybe she should have felt something. Anger, grief, relief. But there was nothing. Just emptiness where feelings used to be. She had more important things to focus on, like staying alive long enough to finish her videos, like making sure her children knew who she was before she was gone. She set up her phone on a tripod in the nursery, recorded for hours every day. Sometimes Grace helped, held the camera steady, asked questions, made sure everything was captured. Today, you're 2 months old, Charlie said to the camera, to her children watching sometime in the future. You came home this week, all 3 of you, and you're perfect. Emma, you're my observer. You watch everything with these serious eyes. Oliver, you're my fighter. You've beaten every odd. And Sophia, you're my joy. You smile at everything. She paused, caught her breath. Her heart was racing, irregular, painful. I'm getting weaker. I can feel it. The doctors say maybe weeks now, maybe a month. I'm trying to stay. I'm fighting so hard to stay. But I don't know if I'll win this fight. Tears fell. She didn't wipe them away. I need you to know something. Your father. He loves you. I have to believe that. But he's lost right now. He's made terrible choices. He's hurt me in ways I can't explain. But he's still your father. And maybe someday he'll find his way back to being the man he was supposed to be. She recorded videos for every milestone, every birthday until they turned 30, every important moment. For their 5th birthdays. You're starting kindergarten soon. I remember my first day. I was terrified. It's okay to be scared. Brave people feel fear. They just don't let it stop them. For their 10th birthdays. You're double digits now, growing up so fast. I hope you're kind to each other. I hope you protect each other. Being siblings means having built-in best friends. Don't waste that. For their 16th birthdays. You're probably thinking about dating now. Maybe you've already started. Remember what I said, don't settle. Find someone who shows up, who stays, who chooses you every single day. For their wedding days, I wish I could be there. I wish I could help you get ready, help you pick your dress or fix your tie. But I'm here in spirit, and I'm so proud of you. You found someone who loves you right. That's all any parent wants. She recorded practical advice. How to make her spaghetti sauce, how to fix a leaky faucet, how to change a tire. All the things a mother should teach her children but wouldn't get the chance. She recorded emotional advice, how to handle heartbreak, how to deal with loss, how to forgive, how to let go. Some people will hurt you, she said, sometimes on purpose, sometimes by accident. You get to decide if you forgive them, but forgiveness isn't about them. It's about you. It's about not carrying their weight anymore. She made one video that she marked for age 21 only, gave strict instructions to Rebecca, told her exactly when to show it. In that video, she told them everything about the affair, about Vivian, about the trust, about why she made the choices she made. I know this is hard to hear. I know you'll have questions, but I need you to understand. I didn't do this out of revenge. I did this out of love. I protected you. That's what mothers do. We protect. The recording sessions exhausted her, left her breathless, dizzy, but she kept doing them because this was all she had left. These videos, these words, this proof that she existed, that she loved them, that she tried. Between recordings, Charlie spent time with the babies, held them, fed them when she was strong enough, sang to them, memorized their faces. Emma had her eyes, Oliver had Nate's chin, Sophia had Margaret's smile. They were perfect combinations of everyone who loved them. Late one night, Charlie couldn't sleep. She sat in the nursery, watched 3 babies sleeping in their bassinets, 3 tiny miracles breathing softly in the darkness. Margaret appeared in the doorway. Can't sleep? Too much to think about. Margaret sat beside her. They watched the babies together. Listened to them breathe. I'm scared, Mom. I know. Not of dying, I've made peace with that. But I'm scared they won't remember me. I'm scared I'll just be videos, stories, a ghost. They'll know you through these videos, through the people who loved you, through the choices you made. Legacy isn't about being remembered. It's about the impact you leave behind. Did I do enough? You did everything. You gave them life. You protected them. You built a fortress around them that nothing can breach. That's more than enough. Charlie nodded, wiped her eyes. One more thing I have to do. One more video. The hardest one. What is it? Goodbye. I need to record goodbye, just in case, just so they know, so they understand. The next day, Grace came over, set up the camera, held Charlie's hand while she recorded. Hi, my darlings. If you're watching this, then I'm gone, and I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry I couldn't stay. I wanted to. God, I wanted to. Her voice broke. She took a breath, continued. But I need you to know something. I fought. I fought so hard. I fought to bring you here. I fought to see you breathe. I fought to hold you. And I'd fight again, 1,000 times, because you were worth it. You are worth it. You're worth everything. She looked directly at the camera, at 3 faces she'd never see grow up. Your grandmother Margaret is going to take care of you. She's strong. She's wise. She's everything I hope you become. Listen to her. Learn from her. Love her the way she's going to love you. She talked about Grace, about Jack, about Rebecca, about all the people who would be there when she couldn't. And your father. He's going to try. He's going to want to be in your lives. And I've left that door open because every child deserves a chance to know their parents, even imperfect parents, especially imperfect parents. She paused, gathered strength. I'm not perfect either. I made mistakes. I stayed too long with someone who hurt me. I put my pride aside when maybe I shouldn't have, but I did it for you. Everything I did was for you. Her hands shook. Her heart pounded, but she kept going. I love you. I love you more than words, more than videos, more than anything. You are my heart, my legacy, my forever. She looked at the camera for a long moment. Memorize this moment, this goodbye. Be kind, be brave, be true to yourselves, and know that somewhere, somehow, I'm watching over you. Always. Grace turned off the camera, wrapped Charlie in a hug. They both cried. That was beautiful, Grace said. That was goodbye, Charlie replied. 2 days later, Charlie had another episode. Her heart stopped. Briefly. Margaret did CPR, called 911. The paramedics restarted her heart. At the hospital, Rebecca was gentle but firm. Charlie, this is it. Your heart is giving out. We're talking days now, maybe a week. The babies are strong, are healthy, are going to be fine. They don't need your body anymore, but they still need your spirit. So fight for that. Fight to say what needs to be said. Fight to do what needs to be done. Then let go. Charlie nodded. She'd known this was coming, had prepared for it. There's one more thing, she said, one more video, then I'm ready. She recorded it that night, alone. No camera crew, no audience, just her and her phone and her last words. She talked to Nate, said things she couldn't say to his face about love, about betrayal, about forgiveness, about hope. I loved you, she said. I really did. And maybe part of me still does. But you broke something. You broke us, and I don't have time to fix it. So I'm letting it stay broken. She told him about the trust, about the guardianship clause, about the fortress she'd built. I'm not doing this to punish you. I'm doing this to protect them. If you want to be their father, really be their father, then you can. The choice is yours, but you can't bring her into their lives. You can't let that woman near my children. That's my line, my boundary. Respect it or lose them. Your choice. She turned off the camera, sent the video to Ethan with instructions. Play this after I'm gone. At the reading of the will, make sure Nate hears every word. Then she went home, held her babies, said silent goodbyes. A week later, Charlotte Hayes died, peacefully, in her sleep, with Margaret beside her, with 3 babies in bassinets nearby, with videos recorded and trusts established and love given freely. She was 36 years old. She'd been a mother for 3 months. It wasn't enough time. It was never going to be enough time. But it was the time she had, and she'd used every second of it to protect the 3 lives she'd brought into the world. That was her legacy. Not revenge, not bitterness, but protection, love, sacrifice. Charlotte Hayes died, but her fight was just beginning. They held Charlie's funeral on a Thursday, perfect autumn day, blue sky, gentle breeze, the kind of day Charlie had always loved. The church was packed. Friends, family, colleagues from the hospital board, people whose lives Charlie had touched in ways big and small. Nate sat in the front row, black suit, red eyes, looking every inch the devastated widower. Vivian stayed away. PR team advised against showing up. Too soon, too controversial. Margaret sat beside Nate, holding 3 babies. Emma on her left, Oliver in her lap, Sophia on her right. 3 small beings who would never remember their mother, who would only know her through stories and videos and love passed down. The service was beautiful. People spoke about Charlie, about her kindness, her strength, her determination, how she'd fought until the very end, how she'd loved fiercely, how she'd protected what mattered most. Grace gave the eulogy, barely made it through without breaking down. Charlie was my best friend, my sister in every way that mattered. She taught me what real strength looks like. Not the kind that refuses to bend, but the kind that bends and never breaks. She looked at the 3 babies, at Margaret holding them. She fought for you every single day, every single breath. She fought to bring you here. And now it's our job to make sure you know that, to make sure you understand how much you were loved, how much you still are loved. Nate spoke too, his voice shaking. Charlie was. She was everything. And I failed her, I know that. I'll spend the rest of my life knowing that. But I promise I'll do better by our children. I'll be the father she wanted me to be. Empty words, hollow promises. Margaret's expression said it all. She didn't believe him. Neither did anyone else. After the funeral, everyone gathered at the Thornton house. Food, drinks, people sharing memories. Crying, laughing, grieving. Vivian called Nate 3 times during the reception. He ignored the first 2 calls, answered the third. Not now, he said quietly. When then? It's been over a week. I need to see you. We need to talk about what happens next. What happens next is I bury my wife. What happens after that? I don't know. I haven't thought that far ahead. Well, think, because we have plans. Remember? We had plans. Nate hung up, looked around at the mourners, at his children being passed from person to person, at his mother-in-law watching him with cold judgment. 2 days later, Ethan Monroe called, asked Nate to come to his office, said it was time to review Charlie's will, handle the estate, deal with legal matters. Nate arrived at 9 in the morning, found the conference room full. Margaret, Grace, Jack, Dr. Rebecca Walsh, Ethan, and 3 attorneys Nate didn't recognize. What's all this? Nate asked. Your wife's final wishes, Ethan said. Please sit. Nate sat, felt suddenly uncomfortable, like he was on trial. Ethan opened a folder, began reading. The language was dense, legal, but the meaning became clear quickly. All assets placed in irrevocable trust for Emma, Oliver, and Sophia. Board of trustees including Margaret, Grace, Jack, Rebecca, and 3 independent financial advisors. Nate received CEO salary only. $150,000 annually, no access to principal, no control over investments, no say in how money was spent. Wait, Nate said, what? That can't be right. It's absolutely right. Your wife created this trust 3 months before she died. You signed the documents yourself. They're completely legal and binding. But I didn't. I didn't know what I was signing. That's not the court's problem. You signed without reading. That's your failure, not hers. Nate looked at Jack, at the man who'd been his father, who was now looking at him like a stranger. You knew about this? I encouraged it, Jack said coldly. Charlotte was protecting your children from your choices. I support that completely. This is insane. That's almost $2 billion. And I get what? $150,000 a year. That's more than most people make, Margaret said, her voice hard. You should be grateful. Grateful for being cut out of my own fortune? It's not your fortune, Ethan said. It's your children's fortune. There's a difference. He pulled out another document. There's more. Guardianship clause. If you remarry within 5 years, or if you move the children into a home with anyone not approved by the board, custody transfers to Margaret immediately and automatically. The room went silent. She can't do that, Nate said. She can't take my children. She already did. She just left you a choice. Be their father, really be their father, or prove her right about who you are. Ethan pulled out a laptop. There's something else. Charlotte made a video for you. She wanted you to see it after she was gone. Should I play it? Nate nodded, couldn't speak. The screen filled with Charlie's face, gaunt, pale but clear-eyed, determined. Hi, Nate. If you're watching this, I'm gone, and you're sitting in Ethan's office learning about the trust, about the guardianship clause, about the ways I protected our children from your choices. She paused, gathered strength. I know you're angry, I know you feel betrayed, but I need you to understand something. I didn't do this out of revenge. I did this out of love. Love for 3 babies who deserve better than what you were giving them. Nate felt tears coming, tried to stop them, couldn't. You cheated on me for 14 months while I was trying to get pregnant, while I was dying. You cheated with a woman who wants me dead, who sees our children as obstacles, and you brought her into our home, into their lives, into the space where they should have been safe. Charlie's eyes were hard, unforgiving. So I made a choice. I chose them over you. I chose their security over your comfort. I chose protection over pride. And I'd do it again, 1,000 times. She softened slightly, just slightly, but I left the door open because I still believe, I still hope that maybe you can be the man I married, the man I fell in love with, the father our children deserve. That choice is yours. Choose them. Choose to be present. Choose to show up. And you can be their father. Really be their father. She looked directly into the camera, directly at him. Or choose her. Choose your mistress. choose your comfort, and lose everything. Your children, your family, your legacy, all of it, gone, because of the choice you make. The screen went black. Everyone in the room watched Nate's face, watched him process, watched him realize what he'd lost, what he could still lose. "I need to make a call," he said, his voice hollow. He stepped outside, called Vivian. "It's over," he said without preamble. "What's over?" "Everything. The money, the future, the plans we had. Charlie, she knew everything, and she made sure. She made sure I can't give you anything." "What are you talking about?" "The estate, it's in a trust for the children. I don't have access. I get a salary. That's it, 150,000 a year." Silence on the line. Then, "That's ridiculous. Your attorneys can break that, contest it, fight it. They said it's airtight, ironclad. She documented everything, the affair, the timeline, everything, and I signed the papers without reading them. I agreed to all of it." More silence. Longer this time. "So what are you saying?" Vivian's voice had changed, gone cold, calculating. "I'm saying we're done. We have to be done." "Are you kidding me right now? We waited. We planned. We were supposed to be together. And now you're just, what, walking away?" "I have to choose, her or my children, and I choose my children." "Wow, okay. So I wasted 2 years of my life on you. 2 years waiting for that bitch to die. And now you're telling me it was for nothing?" "Don't call her that." "Why not? She screwed us. She screwed us completely. And you're just letting her." "She didn't screw us. She protected her children, our children, from us, and she was right to do it." He heard the truth in his own words, felt it settle into his bone. "I have to go." "Nate, wait. We can figure this out. We can—" He hung up, blocked the number, stood in the hallway of Ethan's office building, and finally understood what he'd lost. Not just his wife, not just his fortune, but his integrity, his honor, his chance to be the man he was supposed to be. Charlie had seen it, had known it, had protected their children from it and from him. He went back into the conference room, faced the people watching him with judgment and hope mixed together. "I'll sign whatever you need me to sign," he said. "I'll agree to whatever conditions Margaret wants. I'll do whatever it takes to be part of my children's lives." "And Vivian?" Ethan asked. "He is gone, completely, forever." Margaret studied his face. "You understand what you're agreeing to. You can't marry her, can't live with her, can't bring her around the children, ever." "I understand. And if you break that agreement, you lose them, you lose everything." "I understand," he repeated. Margaret nodded slowly. "Then we have an arrangement. You can see the children, under supervision, at my house until we determine you're stable, until we trust you again." "Thank you." "Don't thank me. Thank Charlotte. She's the one who left the door open. I would have slammed it shut." The meeting ended. Everyone left. Nate sat alone in the conference room, stared at the blank laptop screen, at the place where his wife's face had been. She'd beaten him, completely, utterly. She'd outthought him, outplanned him, made sure he couldn't hurt their children the way he'd hurt her. And she'd done it while dying, while fighting for every breath, while bringing 3 babies into the world. That was strength, real strength, the kind he'd never had, never would have. His phone buzzed, unknown number. He almost didn't answer. "Mr. Thornton?" A man's voice. Professional, cool. "Yes?" "This is Detective Morrison with the Seattle Police Department. I'm calling about Vivian Cross. Do you have a few minutes to talk?" Nate's blood ran cold. "What about her?" "We've been investigating her for fraud, identity theft, conspiracy. Turns out she's wanted in 3 states. And your name came up in our investigation." "My name?" "As a potential victim. We'd like to ask you some questions, verify some information. Can you come down to the station?" Nate closed his eyes. Of course. Of course, Charlie had been right about everything, even about Vivian being dangerous. "Yes," he said, "and I'll be there in an hour." He hung up, sat in silence, let the full weight of his mistakes crush him. Charlie had tried to save him, even from himself, even at the end. She'd given him a choice, a chance, a path back to redemption. And he was going to take it, not because of the money, not because of the trust, but because she'd believed he could be better. Even after everything, even dying, she'd believed in him. The least he could do was prove her right. Vivian Cross was not done. She disappeared for a week after Nate ended things. No calls, no texts, no attempts to contact him. He thought maybe she'd accepted, edited it, moved on, found another mark. He was wrong. She came back with a lawyer, a shark who specialized in palimony suits, filed papers claiming common law marriage, demanded half of what she thought was Nate's estate. Ethan called Nate at 7 in the morning. "We have a problem." "What kind of problem?" "Your ex-mistress is suing you for $50 million. Claims you promised to marry her. Claims she gave up career opportunities to be with you. Claims she's entitled to compensation." Nate felt sick. "Can she do that?" "She can try, but she's going to lose. We have documentation of the timeline. Proof she was with you while Charlie was dying. Evidence of her pattern with other men. She's not getting a penny. So why are you worried?" "Because lawsuits are public, messy, and right now, with everything happening, we don't need more drama." But drama came anyway. Vivian went to the press, gave interviews, painted herself as the victim. The other woman who'd been promised everything and left with nothing. The girlfriend who'd supported a grieving widower only to be discarded. She was good, convincing, had clearly done this before. "Nate told me he loved me," she said on camera, tears streaming, makeup perfect even while crying. "He said once Charlotte was gone, we'd be together. We'd have a life, and I believed him. I gave up everything for him." The internet ate it up. Half sympathetic, half horrified, everyone with opinions. Grace watched the interview on her laptop, called Margaret immediately. "She's rewriting history, making herself the victim. We need to stop this." "How?" "Release the evidence, everything. The timeline, the credit card statements, the photos. Show everyone exactly who she is. And risk dragging Charlie's name through the mud? Making her death about a scandal? Charlie wouldn't care about her name. She'd care about protecting those babies from that woman. And this is how we do it." Margaret agreed, called Ethan, gave authorization to release everything. Within 24 hours, the narrative shifted. Security footage from the hospital, Vivian in the NICU, asking about survival rates, looking at the babies like they were obstacles. Phone records showing she'd called Nate 14 times the day of Charlie's funeral. Text messages where she pressured him to get this over with so they could finally start their life together. Background checks revealing her real name, her real history, 3 previous relationships with wealthy men. 2 ended in convenient deaths, 1 in a divorce settlement. The internet turned on her. Fast, brutal, unforgiving. Vivian fought back, did more interviews, claimed the evidence was fabricated, that Jack Thornton was manipulating everything to protect his son. But then the Seattle police went public, held a press conference, announced they'd arrested Vivian Cross, charged her with fraud, identity theft, multiple counts. Ms. Cross has been running a sophisticated con operation for 5 years, Detective Morrison said. She targets wealthy men, particularly those going through difficult times. She ingratiates herself, makes herself indispensable, then positions herself to inherit or collect when circumstances change. He pulled up photos. "We've identified 5 victims, 2 deceased, 1 missing, 2 divorced. Nathaniel Thornton was her 6th target." The press exploded. Questions shouted. Cameras flashing. This was the story of the year. Tech billionaire, dying wife, con artist mistress. It had everything. Nate watched the press conference from Margaret's house, holding Oliver. The baby was 5 months old now, getting stronger every day. He looked up at Nate with serious eyes, Charlie's eyes. "Your mom knew," Nate said softly. "She knew exactly what Vivian was, and she tried to tell me, tried to protect us, but I wouldn't listen." Oliver made a small sound, not quite a coo, not quite a cry, just acknowledgement. "I'm sorry," Nate continued. "I'm sorry I wasn't the father you deserved, but I'm going to try. I'm really going to try." Margaret appeared in the doorway. "The babies need to eat. Are you staying for dinner? If that's okay?" "It's always okay. You're their father, this is your family, as long as you remember that." "I do, I won't forget again." Over the next few weeks, Vivian's trial dominated the news. Evidence piled up. Witnesses testified. The prosecution built an airtight case. Nate was called to testify. Told the truth. All of it. About the affair, about the lies, about how he'd abandoned his dying wife for a woman who was using him. "I thought I was having a relationship," he said on the stand, "but I was being played, manipulated." She knew exactly what to say, what to do, how to make me feel like I mattered, when really I was just a mark, a target. The defense attorney tried to make him look sympathetic to Vivian, You initiated the relationship, though, didn't you, Mr. Thornton? I did. You pursued her? Yes. So she didn't seduce you. You were a willing participant in the affair. I was willing, but I wasn't informed. If I'd known who she really was, what she really wanted, I never would have. I never would have risked my family for her. But you did risk your family. You did abandon your dying wife. Those were your choices, Mr. Thornton, not Miss Cross's. You're absolutely right, and I'll spend the rest of my life living with that. But my wife, Charlotte, she saw what I couldn't see. She knew what Vivian was, and she protected our children from both of us, from Vivian's lies and from my weakness. The courtroom was silent. I'm testifying not because I want sympathy, but because other men need to know. Vivian Cross is dangerous. She's a predator. And if my testimony helps convict her, if it helps protect someone else from what she did to my family, then maybe something good can come from this nightmare. The jury deliberated for 3 hours, found Vivian guilty on all counts. The judge sentenced her to 15 years in prison. As they led her away, Vivian looked at Nate. No more tears, no more victim act, just cold hatred. You were supposed to be easy, she said, a lonely rich man with a dying wife. But she ruined everything. Even dead, she beat me. She beat both of us, Nate replied. The difference is, I'm grateful for it. After the trial, Nate moved into a modest apartment, not the penthouse he'd shared with Vivian, not the house he'd shared with Charlie. Something new, smaller, honest. He lived on his $150,000 a year salary, discovered it was more than enough, discovered he didn't need much. Just time with his children, just a chance to be better. He saw them 3 times a week, at Margaret's house, under supervision at first, then gradually more freedom, more trust. He learned their routines. Emma liked to be held a certain way. Oliver needed extra patience with feeding. Sophia laughed at everything, just like Charlie had. He read them the books Charlie had loved, sang them the songs she'd sung, kept her memory alive not through grand gestures, but through small daily acts of remembering. One night, Margaret handed him a USB drive. Charlie made this, for you. She said to give it to you after everything settled. Nate took it home, plugged it in, found one video file. Charlie's face filled the screen. This video was different from the others. Softer, sadder. Hi, Nate. If Margaret gave you this, it means you chose right. You chose the babies. And I'm grateful for that. They deserve a father. Even an imperfect father. Especially an imperfect father. She smiled, small, tired. I know you're angry. I know you feel betrayed. But I need you to understand everything I did, the trust, the guardianship clause, all of it, I did it because I love them and because I loved you. Even after everything, I loved who you were, who you could be. A tear rolled down her cheek. You broke my heart, Nate, you really did. But you also gave me 3 perfect children, 3 miracles, 3 reasons to fight when everything in me wanted to quit. And for that, for them, I'll always be grateful. She looked directly at the camera, directly at him. Be the father they deserve. Be present, be honest, be kind. Show them what good men look like, what real love looks like. Don't let them grow up thinking relationships are supposed to hurt. That love is supposed to be hard. Show them it can be good. It can be right. It can be what it's supposed to be. She paused, took a shaky breath. I forgive you. I need you to know that. I forgive you. Not because you deserve it, but because holding on to anger would poison the time I have left. And I need that time, all of it, for them. Another pause, longer. Take care of them. Love them. Be better. And maybe someday you'll forgive yourself too. The video ended. Nate sat in the dark. Let the tears come. Let himself feel everything he'd been avoiding. The guilt, the grief, the crushing weight of his failures. But also hope. Small, fragile, but there. Charlie had forgiven him, had believed he could be better, had left him a path forward. The least he could do was walk it. 1 year after Charlotte Hayes died, her children celebrated their first birthday. Margaret hosted at her house, the house she'd moved into permanently, the house that was now home to 3 one-year-olds who ruled everything with sticky hands and loud voices. The living room was decorated with balloons, banners, 3 high chairs set up for 3 smash cakes. Yellow, because Charlie had wanted to be surprised by their genders. Because yellow meant sunshine, hope, new beginnings. Grace arrived first with her 2 kids. They'd been asking about baby Emma and baby Oliver and baby Sophia for weeks, brought presents wrapped in shiny paper, brought energy and chaos and love. Dr. Rebecca came with her husband, brought medical humor about how miraculous it was that 3 preemies were now thriving 1-year-olds, how Charlie would be so proud of how strong they were. Jack flew in from Seattle, brought outrageously expensive gifts that 1-year-olds couldn't appreciate yet, but would someday, when they were old enough to understand that their grandfather had chosen them over his own son. And that choice meant everything. Ethan brought legal updates. The trust was performing beautifully. The children would never want for anything. Charlie's planning had been perfect, airtight, exactly what she'd intended. And Nate arrived at noon, carrying 3 small wrap boxes, nervous, hopeful, still earning his place but earning it steadily. Margaret met him at the door, studied his face. "You look better." "I feel better. Therapy helps, being honest helps, showing up helps." "Good, the babies have been asking for you." "They can't talk yet." "No, but they look for you, Emma especially. She knows your voice now." His eyes got wet. Charlie would be happy about that. Charlie would be happy about a lot of things. Come on, everyone's waiting. The party was loud, chaotic, perfect. 3 babies trying to figure out cake, getting more on their faces than in their mouths, laughing, smearing frosting everywhere, being beautifully, messily 1-year-old. Emma smashed her cake methodically, piece by piece, studied each handful before eating it, curious, thoughtful, just like Charlie had been. Oliver needed help, was overwhelmed by the texture, the messiness, but with Nate's encouragement, he tried, smiled, got frosting in his hair. Sophia dove in face first, no hesitation, pure joy. Made everyone laugh, made everyone remember that happiness was still possible even after tragedy. After cake, after presents, after the chaos settled, Margaret gathered everyone in the living room. Charlotte made videos, she said, for every milestone. And today, their first birthday, she made one for today. She pulled out her laptop, queued up the video, hit play. Charlie's face filled the screen, thin, pale, but smiling, really smiling. "Hello, my darlings. Today you are 1-year-old, and I'm missing your party, but I was there for the party that mattered most, your arrival. Let me tell you about the day you were born." She told the story. The emergency C-section, coding twice, fighting to survive long enough to see them take their first breaths, hearing 3 cries, knowing they were alive. "You were so small, so fragile. Oliver, you were 2 pounds exactly, the smallest. But you fought so hard. Emma, you were 2 pounds, 3 ounces, serious from the beginning, studying everything with wise eyes. And Sophia, you were 2 pounds, 4 ounces, the biggest, the loudest. You came out screaming and you never stopped. I love that about you." Everyone in the room was crying, even Jack, even Ethan, even Nate, who'd heard stories but never Charlie's voice telling them. "I want you to know something," Charlie continued. "I fought for you. I fought to stay pregnant, to give you more time. I fought through the C-section, through my heart stopping, through everything, because you were worth fighting for. You are worth fighting for, always." She looked at the camera, at 3 children who were watching 1 year later, who would watch this video many times over the years, who would hear their mother's voice, even though they'd never remember it from real life. "You're surrounded by people who love you. Your grandmother, Margaret, your Auntie Grace, your grandfather, Jack, Dr. Rebecca, who helped bring you here, and your father." She paused. "Your father loves you. He's made mistakes, big ones, but he's trying. And that's what matters. Not perfection, but effort. Not never falling down, but getting back up. Give him that chance. Give him grace. Let him show you who he can be." She smiled, that beautiful smile that Sophia had inherited. "I love you more than words can say, more than videos can capture. You are my heart, my legacy, my forever. Happy first birthday, my darlings. Make it a good one." The video ended. No one spoke for a long moment. The babies babbled, oblivious to the tears, to the grief, to the love pouring out of every adult in the room. "She was remarkable," Rebecca said finally. "Absolutely remarkable." "She was my daughter," Margaret said, pride and pain mixed in her voice. "And she taught me more about strength in her last 6 months than I learned in 64 years before that." Grace wiped her eyes. She turned a death sentence into a love letter. That's what mothers do. They transform tragedy into protection. Jack nodded. Those children will never want for anything. Not just money, but love, support, people who remember their mother and keep her alive for them. Nate stood, walked to the window, looked out at the yard where someday 3 children would play, would grow, would become people. Margaret joined him. You okay? I don't deserve this, any of this, the chance to know them, to be part of their lives, after what I did. No, you don't deserve it, but Charlie gave it to you anyway. That's grace, Nate. That's love. The question isn't whether you deserve it. The question is what you're going to do with it. I'm going to be better. Every day. I'm going to show up. Be present. Be the father she believed I could be. Then that's enough. That's all any of us can do. Be better than we were yesterday. They stood together, watched 3 babies playing with their new toys, watched Grace helping Emma stack blocks, watched Rebecca holding Oliver, watched Jack making Sophia laugh. She won, Nate said quietly. Charlie won. She protected them, made sure they'd be okay, made sure they'd be loved, even after she was gone. That's what mothers do, Margaret said. We make sure someone remembers to cut the crusts off the sandwiches long after we're gone. Charlie just did it on a bigger scale. As the afternoon faded into evening, as guests started leaving, as 3 tired babies were put down for naps, Margaret found the second USB drive, the one Charlie had marked for the babies age 5. She'd made videos for every year, every milestone, a breadcrumb trail of love leading from birth to adulthood. Proof that even death couldn't erase a mother's love. Margaret held the USB drive, thought about 4 more years, about 2 more birthday parties, about 3 children getting old enough to understand that the woman in the videos was their mother, was someone who'd love them more than life itself. We'll get them there, Grace said, reading her thoughts. All of us, together. We'll make sure they know her, really know her. Yes, Margaret agreed. We will. That night, after everyone left, after the babies were asleep, after the house was quiet, Margaret sat in Charlie's rocking chair, the one they'd assembled together, the one Charlie had used to record her videos, the one that still smelled faintly of her lavender lotion. She thought about her daughter, about the girl who'd been scared of thunderstorms but loved rain, who'd ugly cried at Disney movies, who'd wanted children so badly she traded her life for theirs. You did good, baby girl, Margaret whispered into the darkness. They're safe. They're loved. They're going to be okay. You made sure of it. A sound from the nursery. One of the babies stirring. Margaret went to check. Found Emma awake, looking around, not crying, just observing. Hey, sweet girl, can't sleep? Emma made a sound, reached up. Margaret lifted her, held her close, felt the warm weight of her granddaughter, felt Charlie in every feature, every expression. Your mama loved you so much, Margaret said softly. She fought like hell to bring you here. And now it's my job to make sure you know that, to make sure all 3 of you know that. Emma made another sound, contentment, trust, love. Margaret carried her to the window, looked out at the night sky, at stars scattered across darkness, at the moon hanging full and bright. See that moon, Emma? Your mama used to sing to the moon when she was pregnant with you. Said she hoped you'd look up at it someday. Know she'd looked at the same moon, that you were connected through light and love even across the distance. Emma reached toward the window, toward the light. That's right. Reach for it. Your mama would want that, would want you to reach, to dream, to fight, to love, to live fully and fearlessly and without apology. Margaret sang softly, the lullaby Charlie had loved, the one about stars and dreams and love that never ends. By the second verse, Emma was asleep, peaceful, safe, exactly as Charlie had planned. Margaret put her back in her crib, checked on Oliver and Sophia, both sleeping, both growing, both living the life their mother had sacrificed everything to give them. Charlotte Hayes died at 36, Margaret said softly, standing between 3 cribs, looking at 3 miracles. But her love was immortal. It lives here in them, in all of us who carry her forward, in every choice we make to protect them, to guide them, to love them the way she would have. She turned off the light, left the door cracked, went to her own room where photos of Charlie covered the dresser. Charlie as a baby, as a child, as a teenager, as a bride, and as a pregnant woman glowing with hope, as a mother holding 3 babies for the first and only time. Sleep well, baby girl, Margaret said to the photos, to the ghost of her daughter, To the woman who taught her that the strongest thing you can do is protect those you love, even when it costs everything. Your babies are safe, your legacy is secure, and tomorrow we'll wake up and do it all again. Because that's what family does. We keep going, we keep loving, we keep your memory alive. She climbed into bed, closed her eyes, listened to the baby monitor, to 3 babies breathing in sync, to the sound of life continuing, of hope persisting, of love winning. Charlotte Hayes died, but she also lived, in 3 heartbeats, in videos waiting to be watched, in a trust that would support them, in people who remembered, who loved, who would make sure her sacrifice mattered. That was victory, not revenge, not bitterness, but protection, love, legacy. Charlotte Hayes died, but her fight was won, and 3 babies slept peacefully, surrounded by people who would make sure they knew, make sure they understood. Their mother had fought like hell to give them life, had built a fortress to protect them, had left breadcrumbs of love for them to follow. And when they were old enough to understand, old enough to ask questions, old enough to watch those videos and see their mother's face, they would know, beyond doubt, beyond question, they were loved, they were wanted, they were worth everything. Charlotte Hayes made sure of it, even from beyond the grave, especially from beyond the grave. Because that's what mothers do. They protect, they plan, they fight, they love. And they win, not through revenge, but through legacy, through the lives they shape, through the love they leave behind. Charlotte Hayes died at 36, but her love was immortal. And 3 babies grew, thrived, became people who would carry her forward, who would tell their own children someday about the mother who gave everything, who sacrificed it all, who turned a death sentence into the ultimate love letter. That was Charlotte's victory. Not that Vivian lost, not that Nate learned, not that justice was served, but that 3 babies got to live, got to grow, got to become whatever they wanted to be, protected, loved, free. That was always the goal, always the plan, always the dream. Charlotte Hayes fought for that dream with every breath until her very last. And the dream lived on in 3 heartbeats, in 3 souls, in 3 lives that proved love was stronger than death. Always had been, always would be. Charlotte Hayes proved that a mother's love doesn't end with death. It transforms, it protects, it wins. If this story moved you, if Charlotte's courage inspired you, or if you believe mothers who fight deserve to be remembered, show some love by hitting that like button. Drop a comment telling me what you thought about Charlotte's strategy. Was she brilliant? Ruthless? Both? Share this story with someone who needs to hear it, someone who's fighting their own battles, someone who needs to know that even in our darkest moments, we can still protect what matters most. And subscribe to this channel for more incredible, true stories of ordinary people doing extraordinary things. Because these stories, they need to be told and remembered and celebrated. Charlotte Hayes died at 36, but through this story, through you listening and sharing, she lives on. Her fight continues. Her love remains immortal. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. And remember, the strongest thing you can do is protect those you love, even when it costs everything. See you in the next story.